Welcome to the Full Moon Film Buff episode 151. We're going to talk about A Werewolf in the Amazon from 2005. I rented this from Scarecrow Video. I had not seen this before. As always, we start with the prominent crew and cast. The show notes include links to a more complete credit list. These are primarily Brazilian filmmakers, so my information might be sparse. My pronunciation might also be worse than normal. The film was directed by Ivan Cardoso, written by Gastão Cruz, who he wrote the novel, Rubens Francisco Luchetti, Evandro Mesquita, and Flavio de Souza. Ivan Cardoso is known for The Secret of the Mummy from 1982, As Sete Vampiras from 1986, and The Scarlet Scorpion from 1990. His style is called terror, a portmanteau in Portuguese of terror plus rear to laugh, which was a mix of classic horror elements blended with popular Brazilian sexy chanchada comedy tropes. Rubens Francisco Luchetti was a Brazilian fiction writer and illustrator who wrote for just about every medium. He wrote more than 30 books under his own name and over 1,500 crime and horror fiction works under several pen names. He wrote comic books and for magazines. He also wrote screenplays for films. Evandro Mesquita is an actor and writer known for Big Family from 2001, O Diabo Quattro from 2004, and Big Bang from 2005. Flavio de Souza was a writer and actor known for Ra Tim Bum from 1989 and what I presume to be a sequel, Castelo Ram Tim Bum from 1994, and Mundo da Lua from 1990. The cast includes Paul Naschy as Dr. Moreau / the werewolf, Guara Rodriguez as Zoltan, Evandro Mesquita as Jean-Pierre, aka JP, Karina Bacci as Samantha, Bruno De Luca as Raul, Pedro Neschling as Bruno, Jin Sangzerla as Carol, Danielle Winnitz as Natasha, Nuno Leal Maya as Professor Scott Corman, Joana Medeiros as Reina, Tony Tornado plays Delgado Barreto. We first discussed Paul Naschy clear back when we analyzed Frankenstein's Bloody Terror, aka The Mark of the Werewolf from 1968. Guara Rodriguez was an actor and assistant director known for Música para Sempre from 1980, Arias Escalantes from 1985, and Jardim de Guerra from 1969. Karina Bacci is an actress, model, and television presenter, best known for winning the first season of the Brazilian version of Dancing with the Stars in 2005 and the second season of the Brazilian version of The Farm in 2010. She began modeling at the age of 4. In addition to advertising and fashion, she studied theater and dance. Bruno De Luca is known for Malhacao from 1995 and its sequel, Mahacao de Verão in 1996. Pedro Neschling is known for As Voces de Verdade in 2002, Usor a Temor in 2001, and Shades of Sin from 2004. Neschling is the son of John Neschling, composer and conductor, and of Lucilia Santos, actress and director. Jin Sangzerla is known for Muller Oceano in 2020, Meu Nome é Dinde from 2007 in Eclipse. Danielle Winnitz began her television career in 1993 in the Brazilian miniseries Sex Appeal. Her theatrical debut came the following year in the musical Band-Aid. Her first film role was in 1999 in the film Até que a Vida Nos Separe. She is known for Pages of Life from 2006, Till Luck Do Us Part in 2012, and Sai de Boxeo in 1996. She played the Velma Kelly character in a Brazilian adaptation of the musical Chicago. Nuno Leal Maya is an actor and former football manager. He became notorious for his role on the 1979 porno chanchada film Bem Dotado, O Homem de Itu. Maya started his career as a stage actor in the 70s, debuting in cinema in the 1973 film Moreau. He is known for Vereda Tropical in 1984, Top Model from 1989, and Luca por Cinema in 1995. Joana Medeiros is known for Elite Squad in 2007, Apollinio, Brazil, Campeão del Alegria in 2003, and Ahora Marcada in 2000. Antonio Viana Gomez ran away from home at 11 years old and ended up in Rio de Janeiro, where he became a street kid making a living selling peanuts and shining shoes. In 1957, he fought in the Suez Canal. He began his artistic career in the 60s with the stage name Tony Checker, lip-syncing and dancing on the show Jorge y Dia de Rock, imitating singers like Chubby Checker and Little Richard. In 1970, he adopted the name that he came to be known by, Tony Tornado. Tony helped introduce soul music and funk to Brazil. He won the Brazilian stage of the 5 Festival Internacional de Cancao with the soul song BR3. His first TV role came in 1972 on the telenovela Geronimo. Tornado often did soap operas and miniseries, although seldom in prominent roles. The biggest role of his career was Gregorio Fortunato in the 1993 miniseries Augusto. This film was very hard to find. The only copy I could find was on DVD, and I believe in Portuguese, pretty sure, with no English subtitles. I had to download an English subtitle file, but then my conversion software wouldn't burn the subtitles into the MP4 file. So I had to install the VLC player on the TV so that I could manually load the subtitles. All of this is to say that I am glad I saw this surprising final entry in Paul Naschy's werewolf filmography, but I do not recommend anyone else jump through the same hoops. If you enjoy Paul Naschy's other werewolf outings, you certainly can, but I don't think you need to. It's not a mainstream werewolf film. This isn't high art, but it's certainly an interesting cultural artifact. Now, this is Naschy's final werewolf performance before he died in 2009. The film represents a collaboration between Spanish horror icon Naschy and Brazilian filmmaker Ivan Cardoso, known for his terror style, a blend of terror and laughs. It's based on Gastão Cruas's 1925 novel, Amazonia Misteriosa, based around the discovery of a secluded tribe deep within the Amazon, being experimented on by a German scientist. The novel drew heavily from H.G. Wells' The Island of Dr. Moreau. So let's cover the synopsis. A pretty young lady is chased through the Amazon screaming for someone named Joss. She finds him dead and hanging from a tree. Then a werewolf finds her and kills her. Let's go. Dr. Moreau tells Zoltan he will resume his work in the Amazon. He creates artificial hybrid life forms. He's looking for the perfect woman so that he can cure his disease. He works out of a journal that he stole from Dr. Mengele and aims to be more powerful than Hitler. Ugh. Okay. Moreau works with a tribe of Amazons who walk around mostly naked. He and the queen enjoy some rough sex. Zoologist Professor Scott Corman is working with Delgado Barreto to investigate a series of killings. Zoltan just wants to become fully human. Meanwhile, Jean-Pierre, nicknamed JP, leads 5 attractive explorers into the jungle. Bruno, Carol, Natasha, Raul, and Samantha. I have no idea why they are in the Amazon, and they act like drunk college students on spring break. JP takes them to a cursed spot to camp. That doesn't seem wise. They set off to collect ayahuasca so that they can get high. I am sure that this will also prove to be a wise decision. Raul agrees with me, so he heads into the jungle alone at night. His girlfriend, Carol, follows him and seduces him. This is not any wiser of a decision. Once they are naked, the werewolf shows up and kills them. A serpent priest appears to Natasha, sings a goddamn musical number that sounds like it belongs in the Emperor's New Groove, tells her that she's been chosen as the new Amazonian queen, and gives her a silver serpent scepter. That's not a euphemism. Back at camp, Samantha wakes up scared. She can't find anyone but Bruno. He takes his shirt off and pulls out his video camera, so, of course, she's immediately horny. She does a striptease. That's when the werewolf tears into the tent and kills them both. JP finds Natasha unconscious. She tells him about her vision, which makes them both horny. At this point, I am convinced that the werewolf is attracted to the smell and sound of sex because he shows up. Natasha faints again. JP is knocked aside. The werewolf hauls Natasha off. Moreau dresses her in a carnival showgirl outfit. Not kidding. Then he hypnotizes her and rechristens her Celine. Corman and Barreto stumble across the dead bodies in the jungle and perform an Abbott and Costello act with the corpses. The good news is that Bruno caught the werewolf on camera, so now the pair know what they're up against. JP wakes up. He, Corman, and Barreto are captured by the Amazons and delivered to Moreau. Corman knows all about the disgraced Dr. Moreau, who lost his license and Nobel Prize due to his evil experiments. Moreau has diabolical plans for them all. He cages them with his many other monstrosities. Zoltan gets handsy with Natasha, so Moreau chokes him to death. Natasha helps JP and Barreto escape while the Amazonian queen literally screws Corman to death. Barreto frees Moreau's other experimental subjects who confront Moreau. JP ends up killing the queen as he and Natasha escape the lair. They stop to kiss, which means the werewolf immediately shows up. JP holds off the werewolf long enough for Natasha to find the silver serpent scepter and stab the werewolf. The werewolf dies and transforms back into Dr. Moreau. The movie ends with JP turning into a werewolf since he was injured. Maybe. Natasha wakes from a dream, so I have no idea if any of this actually happened. Honestly, this being an ayahuasca hallucination makes the most sense. The film really skimps on the transformation. The only one I can think of is when the werewolf turns back into Dr. Moreau after his death, and it's one single crossfade. There is no more basic metamorphosis. The werewolf makeup itself is decent. It's the Waldemar Daninsky special we've seen a dozen times before. It's competently done, but it doesn't break any new ground. Now, this film delivers as little lycanthropic lore as it can get away with. We know next to nothing. I assume Dr. Moreau's condition is the result of an experiment gone awry, but we're never told that. I can't recall any mention of the full moon or even shots of the moon in the film. We don't learn what triggers Moreau's transformations. We don't know if Moreau is in control of the wolf, or if he even remembers what he does when he is the wolf. The specific use of the silver serpent scepter does seem to indicate that the werewolf shares the typical weakness to silver, but that's not confirmed, just suspected. So let's move on to the themes. I am honestly a little surprised it took us this long to get to discuss H.G. Wells' 1896 masterpiece, The Island of Dr. Moreau. This pioneering work of science fiction horror remains startlingly relevant today, offering an unflinching examination of scientific hubris and the fragile boundaries between human and animal nature. At its heart, the novel is a cautionary tale about unchecked scientific ambition. Dr. Moreau, exiled from England for his controversial vivisection experiments, establishes an island laboratory free from ethical oversight. His goal is simple: surgically transform animals into human-like beings. He embodies cold scientific rationality, divorced from any humanitarian concerns. When Moreau tells protagonist Edward Prendick that the study of nature makes a man at last as remorseless as nature, he reveals the complete dismissal of suffering in his pursuit of knowledge. Writing decades after Darwin's Origin of Species, Wells directly engages Victorian anxieties about evolution and humanity's animal ancestry. His beast folk, trapped between their original animal natures and artificially imposed humanity, embodied contemporary fears about evolutionary regression. The novel eerily anticipates debates that would intensify in the 20th and 21st centuries. Moreau's drive to find out the extreme limit of plasticity in a living shape foreshadows modern discussions about CRISPR gene editing, cloning, and genetic modification. In our era of gain-of-function research and biotechnological advancements, Wells' warnings about unchecked experimentation feel a little prophetic. We're bringing animals back from extinction. Maybe? We're creating the next pandemic pathogen in an attempt to treat it better. The law that Moreau imposes, not to go on all fours, not to suck up drink, not to eat flesh or fish, clearly echoes the Ten Commandments, representing civilization restraining our animal impulses. When this restraint inevitably fails, the beast folk revert to their animal natures, highlighting Wells' central question. What truly distinguishes humans from animals? Is it just our physical form, language, moral reasoning? Or are these distinctions more fragile than we care to admit? Prendick's return to London, where he sees fellow humans now as animals half-wrought into the outward image of human souls, delivers the novel's unsettling conclusion. Wells cleverly inverts traditional werewolf mythology. Rather than humans transforming into beasts, Moreau forces animals toward humanity. This reversal emphasizes the artificial nature of the humanity his procedures achieve, suggesting that actual humanity encompasses moral development, social bonds, and self-determination, all lacking in Moreau's creations. Like werewolves returning to human form at dawn, the beast folk eventually revert to their original natures, suggesting that nature ultimately resists artificial manipulation. The novel has inspired numerous adaptations across different eras, each reflecting contemporary anxieties, some emphasizing sexual taboos, highlighting environmental concerns, or updating the science for the genetic age. Wells' concept of uplift, artificially enhancing animal intelligence, has influenced countless worlds from Splice to Bioshock. The Island of Dr. Moreau continues resonating because its ethical questions remain unresolved. In our age of CRISPR, artificial intelligence, growing awareness of animal cognition, and accelerating biological development, Wells' exploration of human and non-human boundaries feels increasingly relevant, not less. His critique of scientific hubris speaks to ongoing tensions between technological progress and ethical restraint. Moreau's isolation, his removal from society's moral oversight, warns against pursuing scientific advancement without accountability. Recent events, from controversial laboratory research to global health crises, underscore these dangers. Wells created more than an early horror novel. He crafted a meditation on what it means to be human. Caught between animal and human states, we have to confront uncomfortable truths about our nature and the ethical boundaries of scientific inquiry. Wells reminds us that ethical considerations and recognition of our limitations must guide scientific progress. The island of Moreau may be fictional, but the questions it raises about scientific responsibility, human nature, and our relationship with the natural world remain urgently real. So now let's move on to shape-shifting consciousness, lycanthropy, and ayahuasca. First, I should clarify, mostly I write from personal experience, like my thoughts on the heavy metal satanic panic of the 80s. But on this topic, it's purely academic. I've never tried ayahuasca before or any hallucinogen. Hell, I don't drink alcohol, and I don't like how anesthesia makes me feel. So if you've got insights on this topic, I'm eager to hear about it. Throughout history, humans have explored the boundaries between human and animal through mythology, ritual, and altered consciousness. Lycanthropy and hallucinogenic plants like ayahuasca represent two approaches to transcending ordinary human experiences. Ayahuasca is a powerful brew traditionally used by Amazonian indigenous communities. Made by combining Banisteriopsis calliope and Psychotria viridis, probably pronounced those incorrectly, it creates a 4 to 6 hour visionary experience. Users often report profound visions and experiences of transformations into animal spirits. Similar properties exist in other natural hallucinogens like peyote, psilocybin mushrooms, saliva divinorum, and iboga, all capable of dissolving psychological boundaries between human and non-human. Anthropological accounts reveal lycanthropy's deeper cultural significance to these drugs. Many societies used ritual animal transformations in coming-of-age ceremonies. Shamans became animals to access ecological knowledge, while werewolf legends acknowledged our suppressed animal nature and warned against transgressing social boundaries. European accounts sometimes mentioned magical ointments containing hallucinogenic plants like henbane, mandrake, and belladonna. Some participants reported seeing through animal eyes, feeling physical transformations, communicating with animal spirits, and experiencing the dissolution of human-animal boundaries. Neuroscience suggests both phenomena share common foundations. The temporoparietal junction maintains bodily boundaries. Disruption creates transformation sensations. Psychedelics suppress the default mode network that maintains self-consciousness. Heightened bodily awareness can be interpreted through cultural frameworks like lycanthropy. These mechanisms suggest that werewolf beliefs and ayahuasca transformations may represent culturally distinct interpretations of similar neurological phenomena, the temporary dissolution of an ordinary human identity. Ultimately, lycanthropy and hallucinogenic plant use express a fundamental human desire to transcend ordinary consciousness and experience non-human perspectives. The werewolf and the ayahuasca shaman each embody our capacity to temporarily become other, and in doing so, gain perspective on what it means to be human. So, if you like lycanthropes, like, share, and subscribe. Contribute your thoughts and additional observations in the comments below. Let me know what I missed or what you noticed. Next, I plan to discuss Big Bad Wolf, released in 2006. Keep your eye on the moon, a silver bullet in the chamber, and we'll see you back here next episode.